Welcome to the Deep Dives. Today, we're plunging into a topic that, well, it touches almost everyone in some way, but it's often surrounded by so much advice and, let's be honest, sometimes a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
We're talking about breastfeeding. We really want to get beyond the headlines today, look at the science, the practical side, and the personal choices involved.
It's fascinating, because the sources we've looked at, they really weave together the biology, which is intricate, with the everyday routines and, crucially, the emotional part of it all.
Right.
So our mission, really, for you listening, is to distill all that, give you the benefits, sure, but also the challenges, the science, the support aspects, so you feel properly informed and, empowered, whatever your family's journey looks like.
Absolutely empowered. That's the key word. So we'll uncover what makes breast milk unique, look at the amazing science of supply and demand, walk through getting started, the routines, and yeah, definitely talk about the challenges, the alternatives, which are totally valid, and just that message of support that every parent deserves.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's start with the basics, but maybe go a bit deeper. What is breastfeeding beyond just, feeding the baby? What makes it such a unique biological thing?
Well, the simple definition is feeding an infant directly from the breast, right?
Yeah.
But the real magic, like you said, is how dynamic it is. It's not just food, it's a living substance. It's tailored specifically for that baby at that exact stage of development.
Wow.
And the main drivers, hormones. Prolactin makes the milk, oxytocin helps release it, and it's all triggered by the baby suckling.
Okay.
Now, you hear about guidelines like from the WHO or the American Academy of Pediatrics.
The 6-month exclusive, continue to 2 years, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Exclusive for 6 months, then keep going with solids, ideally up to a year, 2 years, or even longer. And those guidelines are there for good reasons, but it's so important to remember they're benchmarks. They're not, strict rules carved in stone for every single family. Every situation's different.
That's such an important point. Because the pressure can feel immense sometimes. But the guidelines exist because the benefits are significant. So let's dig into why it's so encouraged. For the baby, you called it a custom-made nutritional powerhouse earlier.
Yeah.
Beyond just good for baby, what are some specifics? What makes it so optimal?
It really is like a smart food. The proteins, for instance, mostly whey, are super easily digestible compared to, say, cow's milk protein.
Okay.
The fats include things like DHA and ARA, crucial for brain and eye development. And the main carbohydrate, lactose, that's fuel for brain growth, too. But the part that's truly, mind-blowing is the immune protection. Breast milk transfers antibodies, like IgA, which coats the baby's gut lining, plus white blood cells, antimicrobial proteins, things like lactoferrin, stuff formula just can't replicate.
Right, the living components.
Exactly. And that's why breastfed babies tend to have lower risks of things like ear infections, respiratory illnesses, diarrhea. And looking longer term, research links it to lower risks of obesity, type 2 diabetes, maybe even asthma and some allergies.
Wow.
And we can't forget the bonding, that skin-to-skin contact during feeding. It's huge for attachment, for emotional security.
It really is incredible how tailored it is. And you mentioned it's dynamic. It actually changes, doesn't it? Like over time and even within one feed.
Oh, absolutely. It's constantly evolving. Think about colostrum, that thick, yellowish first milk.
Liquid gold, they call it.
Liquid gold, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the first vaccine. It's in tiny amounts, maybe just a teaspoon or so per feed initially, which is perfect for a newborn's tiny marble-sized stomach. But it's packed, absolutely packed, with antibodies and immune cells. Then over days and weeks, it transitions to mature milk. And even that changes during a feed. You get the thinner fore milk first, which quenches thirst, followed by the richer, fattier hind milk, which brings satiety.
Fascinating.
And the overall composition keeps shifting month by month as the baby grows. It's amazing.
It really is. Okay, so we talked a lot about the baby, but what about the nursing parent? What are the benefits for the person actually doing the breastfeeding?
Good question, because there are significant benefits there too. The act of nursing releases oxytocin, the love hormone, which does more than just help with bonding. It makes the uterus contract.
Helps it shrink back down.
Exactly. Helps it return to its pre-pregnancy size more quickly and reduces postpartum bleeding, which is really important right after birth.
Okay.
And then longer term, studies show links to reduced risks for the mother of developing breast cancer, ovarian cancer, type 2 diabetes, maybe even postpartum depression.
That's quite a list.
Yeah. And then there's the practical side. It's convenient, always ready, always the right temperature. No bottles to mix or warm up in the middle of the night.
Definitely a plus at 3 a.m.
Right. And it's free. Formula costs can really add up over a year.
That's a really comprehensive picture of the benefits.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears a bit and look at the science behind it all. How does the body even get ready to do this? It starts way before the baby arrives, right?
It does. It's this carefully staged process.
Yeah.
During pregnancy, hormones like estrogen and progesterone are really busy. They stimulate the growth of the milk ducts and the lobules, the little sacs where milk is made, basically building the milk factories.
Okay, prepping the infrastructure.
Exactly. And prolactin, the main milk-making hormone, its levels are already rising quite high during pregnancy, getting the tissue ready. But, and this is key, progesterone acts like a brake.
A break. How so?
It prevents the breasts from going into full-scale milk production while the baby's still inside. It keeps things on hold, essentially. Everything's ready, but the floodgates aren't open yet.
Got it. So everything's primed, then the baby's born, the placenta is delivered,
Yeah.
and that's the moment. The on switch.
That is precisely the on switch for what's called lactogenesis II, the stage of copious milk production. When the placenta comes out, those levels of progesterone and estrogen just plummet.
The brake is released.
The brake is off. And with that blockade gone, prolactin can finally get to work properly, telling the breast cells to really ramp up milk synthesis. That's when you typically feel your milk coming in, usually around day 2 to 5 postpartum.
Okay, so the factories are officially open for business. But once they're open, how does the body know how much milk to make? It's not just constantly churning out the same amount, is it? This is where that demand and supply thing comes in.
Exactly. This is the really elegant part of the system. It's a classic feedback loop. Every time the baby nurses effectively, or you use a pump, it sends nerve signals from the nipple to your brain, specifically to the pituitary gland. This tells the pituitary to release 2 key hormones. Prolactin.
The producer?
The producer, yes, tells the cells to make more milk for the next feed. And oxytocin.
The letdown manager.
You got it. Oxytocin causes the muscle cells around the milk sacs to contract and squeeze the milk out now, down the ducts towards the nipple. That's the letdown reflex.
So more sucking, more signals, more milk, less sucking.
Fewer signals. The body thinks less milk is needed, and production gradually decreases. It's incredibly responsive. If milk isn't removed regularly, pressure builds up in the breast, and a protein called feedback inhibitor of lactation, or FIL, tells the cells to slow down.
Wow, so it really is like a personalized order system.
Perfectly put. The more milk ordered removed, the more the kitchen your body produces.
Okay, so prolactin and oxytocin are the stars. You mentioned estrogen and progesterone as the blockers before birth. Are there any other hormones playing background roles?
Yeah, it's a whole orchestra, really. Cortisol, insulin, thyroid hormones, they all need to be within normal ranges to sort of support the overall metabolic environment for milk production to happen efficiently. But prolactin and oxytocin are definitely the main players driving the day-to-day process.
Understanding all that really helps make sense of the practical advice, doesn't it? So for you listening, thinking about how to support this amazing system, what are the key takeaways? What can you actually do?
Well, starting right from birth, that early skin-to-skin contact is huge.
The golden hour.
The golden hour, exactly. It gets oxytocin flowing for both parent and baby, helps regulate the baby's temperature and breathing, and often encourages that first instinctive latch. It tells your body, okay, baby's here, let's get this system running.
Makes sense.
Then frequent feeding is absolutely critical, especially early on, aiming for, 8 to 12 feeds every 24 hours in those first few weeks.
8 to 12. Wow, that's a lot.
It sounds like a lot, but remember those tiny newborn stomachs? Frequent feeding ensures the baby gets enough nutrition and, crucially, sends constant signals to your body to build up a robust supply. Emptying the breast effectively is the strongest message to make more.
So a good latch is important for that.
Absolutely. A deep latch allows the baby to transfer milk efficiently and comfortably, fully draining the breast and stimulating production. And trying to avoid long gaps between feeds, particularly in the beginning, helps maintain that signal strength.
And you mentioned stress earlier.
Yeah, that's a big one. Stress hormones, like cortisol, can actually interfere with oxytocin release.
So it could make the letdown harder.
It can. So finding ways to relax during feeding, maybe deep breaths, a comfortable chair, listening to music, whatever works for you. And having good support, practically and emotional, makes a huge difference. A calm, supported environment really helps the whole process.
That practical advice is golden. Okay, so let's talk about actually starting that first hour, the golden hour you mentioned. What if, for whatever reason, latching doesn't happen right away, maybe after a C-section or if the baby needs some checks?
Yeah, that happens. And it's okay. The ideal is within that first hour because babies are often really alert and have strong sucking reflexes then. That skin to skin still helps trigger hormones. But if latching isn't possible immediately, the next best thing is to hand express colostrum.
Hand express.
Yeah. Gently squeezing the breast to get those precious drops of colostrum out. You can collect it in a clean spoon or syringe and feed it to the baby. It ensures they still get that amazing first vaccine, and it stimulates your breasts, telling your body the baby needs milk.
Good to know there are options. Now, a big question for new parents. How much does a newborn actually eat? People worry if they're getting enough, especially when the amount seems so small at first.
It's a super common worry, but their stomachs are genuinely tiny, day one, like a small marble. Holes maybe 5 to 7 milliliters, that's like 1 or 1.5 teaspoons. Colostrum comes in exactly those small concentrated amounts.
Perfectly matched.
Perfectly matched. By day 3, it's maybe the size of a cherry or a large marble holding 10, 15 milliliters. By the end of the first week, it's about the size of a walnut or ping pong ball, maybe 30 to 45 milliliter or 1 to 1.5 ounces.
Okay.
So those frequent feeds, 8 to 12 times a day, make sense because they're taking small amounts each time. And watching for hunger cues before crying is key. Lips smacking, rooting around like they're searching for the nipple, bringing hands to their mouth. Crying is a late sign.
Catching those early cues sounds important. So for you listening, how do you get that reassurance? How do you know breastfeeding is working and your baby's getting enough?
This is where observation really helps. First, is the latch comfortable for you? It should feel like a strong tugging, not sharp pain. Baby should have a wide mouth, flanged lips, more areola in their mouth below the nipple than above. You might hear swallowing sounds.
Okay, the latch. What else?
Feeding frequency, are they feeding those 8, 12 times in 24 hours, especially in the early weeks? And then the absolute gold standard, diaper output.
Ah, the diapers. Tell us about that progression.
Okay, day 1. Expect at least 1 wet diaper and 1 black tarry meconium stool. Day 2, maybe 2 wets, 2 stools that might be turning greenish. Days 3, 4. 3 or 4 wets, stools getting looser and more yellow-green. By day 5 onwards, and once mature milk is in, you want to see at least 6 heavy wet diapers and at least 3 yellowish, loose, maybe seedy-looking stools every 24 hours. That's your proof the milk is going in and through.
6 wet, 3 yellow by day 5. That's a clear target.
It's a really reliable indicator.
Yeah.
Also, look at your baby's behavior. Are they generally content and sleepy after feeds? Alert and actively cueing before feeds?
Makes sense.
And finally, weight gain. It's normal for babies to lose up to 7%, maybe 10% of their birth weight in the first few days. But they should stop losing by day 3, 4, be back to birth weight by around 2 weeks, and then gain steadily after that. Your pediatrician will track this.
Okay, that's reassuring. And linking back to the science that demand and supply, the order system, those first few weeks are really when you're setting the foundation for long-term supply, aren't they?
Absolutely critical. Those first, say, 4 to 6 weeks are when your body is really calibrating, establishing the number of prolactin receptors in the breast. Consistent and effective milk removal during this time basically tells your body how much milk capacity to build for the long haul.
So that 8-12 milk removals in 24 hours isn't just for the baby's immediate needs. It's an investment in future supply.
Exactly. Whether it's direct nursing or pumping if needed, getting that milk out frequently and effectively is key during that establishment phase. Think of it like training your body for the marathon ahead.
So for you navigating those first 6 weeks, we called it boot camp earlier, it feels intense, waking every couple of hours, figuring out positions. What are the absolute must-dos during this time?
Okay, boot camp goals for weeks 1 to 6. Establish that supply. So number 1 priority is frequent, effective milk removal, aiming for that 8-12 times in 24 hours. Prioritize direct nursing if you can, as the baby is often more efficient than a pump initially.
Okay.
Use pumping as a tool if latch is difficult, if you're separated, or later to build a small stash, but don't feel pressured to overpump right at the start. That can sometimes lead to oversupply, which has its own challenges.
Right, so weeks 1 and 2.
Weeks 1, 2. Pure demand feeding. Feed whenever baby shows cues, usually every 2-3 hours, maybe even more often during cluster feeds. Definitely wake the baby for feeds if they're going longer than 3-4 hours, especially at night, until birth weight is regained. If latch is poor, protect your supply by hand expressing or pumping for 10-15 minutes each side after trying to nurse. Focus on feeding the baby, not building a freezer stash yet.
Got it. And then weeks 3 and 4, does it shift a bit?
By weeks 3 to 4, supply is usually starting to regulate. You're still nursing frequently, maybe 8-10 times a day. If you want to start building a small emergency stash, you could add one short pumping session per day, often best after the first morning feed when supply is typically highest. Aim for maybe 2 to 4 ounces total from that session. Don't go crazy.
Just a little backup.
Exactly. Then weeks 5, 6, things often start feeling a bit more settled. Supply is more established. Your baby might start spacing feeds out slightly, maybe going 3 hours between some feeds, but still likely 8 feeds in 24 hours overall. If baby starts sleeping a longer stretch at night, say 4 or 5 hours, you might want to pump once before you go to bed or when you wake up, just to maintain supply and avoid getting uncomfortably full.
Okay.
And if you're planning to return to work soon, weeks 5, 6 is a good time to gradually add maybe 1 or 2 more pumping sessions during the day to start building that larger stash. Aiming for maybe 24, 36 ounces, about 1 day's worth of milk by the end of week 6 is a reasonable goal.
It sounds intense, that whole 6-week period.
Yeah.
A real commitment.
It absolutely is, and we shouldn't downplay that. It's tiring, it's demanding. But connecting back, it does get easier for most people. The body becomes much more efficient at making and releasing milk. That initial intensity is about establishing the system.
So flexibility, support.
Crucial. Support from partners, family, friends, whether it's bringing you water, handling diaper changes, burping the baby, letting you rest, and reminding yourself it's a temporary, though intense, training phase. After those first 6 weeks, things often settle into a more manageable rhythm.
Okay, so once you're past the boot camp, the big question becomes, how long should you breastfeed? For you listening, we said there's no single right answer, right?
Definitely not. The official guidelines are clear. WHO says exclusive for 6 months, continue with complementary foods up to 2 years or beyond. AAP is similar. Exclusive for 6 months, continue for at least a year, and then as long as mutually desired.
But in reality,
it varies hugely. Many families aim for 6 months or a year. Some stop earlier for all sorts of valid reasons, returning to work, supply issues, personal choice, baby's preference, and many others continue well past a year, even into toddlerhood. Extended breastfeeding is biologically normal and common in many cultures. It really comes down to what feels right and works for that specific parent and child diet.
that makes sense. And around that 6-month mark is usually when solids come into play.
Right.
Why 6 months? What's the thinking there?
Yeah, around 6 months is the general recommendation, several reasons. One is iron. Babies are born with iron stores, but by about 6 months, those stores start to run low, so they need iron from food.
Okay.
Another is development. Around 6 months, most babies develop the physical skills needed to manage solids safely sitting up well, good head control, losing that tongue thrust reflex that automatically pushes food out.
The readiness signs.
Exactly. They start showing interest in what you're eating. It's important to remember, though, that until about age 1, breast milk or formula is still their primary source of nutrition. Solids are complementary. They add textures, flavors, and some key nutrients like iron, but don't replace milk feeds initially.
So start slow, focus on iron-rich foods maybe?
Often recommended, yeah. Things like iron-fortified baby cereals, pureed meats, beans, then introducing pureed fruits, vegetables. But follow the baby's cues. It's about exploration at first.
Got it. Now, we focused a lot on the benefits in the process, but it's really important to acknowledge the challenges too. For you listening, it's not always smooth sailing, and that's okay. What are some real difficulties people face?
It's so important to be honest about this. For the baby, while breast milk is amazing, it can be low in vitamin D, so supplementation is usually recommended. Iron might also need checking later on, and very rarely certain infections like HIV or specific medications the parent takes can pass through milk, which needs careful management.
Okay. And for the parent?
Physically, oh yeah. Engorgement, when milk first comes in, can be really uncomfortable. Plugged ducts, mastitis, which is a breast infection, nipple pain or damage, especially if the latch isn't quite right. These are common hurdles.
Yeah, heard about those.
And the lifestyle impact is huge. It's demanding. Frequent feeding, especially at night, means disrupted sleep. It can feel limiting sometimes, planning outings around feeds, being careful about medications or alcohol.
And the emotional side.
That can be the toughest part for some. There can be so much societal pressure or self-imposed pressure to breastfeed exclusively. If it doesn't work out easily or if you choose not to, the feelings of guilt, anxiety, or even shame can be overwhelming. And that's something no new parent should have to feel.
Absolutely. That focus on fed is best is crucial. Which brings us to alternatives. Because breastfeeding isn't always possible, or it's not sustainable, or it's simply not the right choice for a family. What about formula and other options?
This is where support and clear information are vital. Infant formula today is highly regulated and scientifically developed to provide complete nutrition for babies.
So it's a safe and healthy alternative.
Absolutely. Formula offers real benefits too. Flexibility, partners can share feedings equally, it can alleviate pressure on the nursing parent. The downsides are the cost, the prep time, needing clean water and sterilized bottles, and yes, it lacks those live immune components of breast milk.
Okay, what about donor milk?
Donor milk is an option, usually prioritized for premature or medically vulnerable babies in the hospital. It comes from screened donors and is pasteurized by milk banks. It offers many of the benefits of human milk, but can be expensive and access varies.
And mixed feeding, combining both.
Very common. Combo feeding, using both breast milk and formula, offers a balance. Maybe you breastfeed when you're home and use formula when you're out or overnight. It allows you to continue providing some breast milk while gaining flexibility.
So the core message is,
The core message has to be, while breastfeeding has unique benefits, formula provides excellent nutrition, and formula-fed babies thrive. In places with safe water and healthcare access, babies grow up healthy, strong, smart on formula. The goal is a healthy baby and a healthy, supported caregiver. Full stop. The best way to feed your baby is the way that is safe, sustainable, and works for your family, free from guilt.
that is such an important message. Thank you. Okay, quick practical detour. If someone is pumping and storing milk, what are the absolute essentials? Do you really need all the gadgets?
No, you definitely don't need to buy out the store. Key essentials. Comfortable nursing bras or tanks for easy access, breast pads for leaks reusable or disposable, a reliable water bottle, and maybe some easy snacks nearby because making milk takes energy and hydration.
Good point.
A nursing pillow can be helpful for positioning, but regular pillows work too. If you're pumping, you'll need a pump manual or electric, depending on your needs, and milk storage bags or bottles. That's pretty much the core list.
Okay, keep it simple. And storing that milk. Any easy rules to remember?
The easiest guide is the Rule of Fours, generally safe for 4 hours at room temperature, 4 days in the refrigerator. For freezing, it's best used within 6 months for optimal quality, but it's considered safe for up to 12 months in a standard freezer or deep freeze.
4 hours room temp, 4 days fridge, 6 12-month freezer. Got it. Any quick storage tips?
Store it in small portions, maybe 2 to 4 ounces to avoid waste. Label everything with the date and time pumped. Freeze bags flat initially to save space, then you can store them upright in a container. And about that freezer stash, aim for maybe 24, 36 ounces, enough for a day or two of separation or emergencies. You really don't need gallons. Fresh milk is generally best when possible.
Great practical tips. Okay, so we've covered a lot today. We've taken this deep dive into the science, the process, the benefits, the challenges. For you, our listener, what's the main takeaway? If you remember one thing.
I think the core message is that breastfeeding is this amazing, biologically optimized system with unique benefits, absolutely, but
it's not the only way.
exactly, it's not the sole factor determining your child's health or happiness or your bond with them. What truly matters fundamentally is that your baby is fed, safe, loved, and that you, the caregiver, feel supported and confident in whatever feeding method works for your family.
Well said. A fed baby and a supported parent. That's the goal.
And maybe that leaves us with a final thought, something for you to ponder after this deep dive. In a world that's just saturated with information and sometimes really strong opinions about parenting, how can we, all of us, do better at creating a culture where every single new parent feels genuinely empowered, supported in their specific feeding journey, whatever it looks like, free from judgment and free from guilt, just confident that they're doing what's best for their unique family? How do we build that supportive village for everyone?